Okay, well, let's take a deep breath, guys, and let's start. We had an awesome time with Mao yesterday, a lot of us, so hopefully we'll have more of those sessions coming up because it was really, really good. Anyway, let's go with your oil. I hear an echo here because Megan's in the room with me today. I can hear you. No, you're fine. You're fine. It's fun hearing an echo here. Is anybody else hear an echo or anything like that? Or we're okay?
You're fine. I don't hear it.
Okay, awesome. Well done. Okay, so let's take a deep breath. I wish you guys could see my room because there's kind of three massage tables right now in here. It's kind of fun. So take an oil. Kind of feel like getting into this mode right away, and put it on your forehead. Okay, that's what we're going for today. Forehead and the neck, and that combination actually, it almost feels like there's a straight line of energy going right through your brain, opening up your eyes so you can see, opening up your ears so you can hear in a deeper way, even opening up your heart so you can feel in a different way, in a more beautiful way, in a more profound way. And through the stories that we're going to share today, you may know more about what is part of your story, and also those who are sharing their stories, that they may actually kind of enlarge that space where we can share that story much more profoundly. I was surprised again yesterday as we were doing some of these touches to each other, how profound some of these oils are, but also how profound our experiences are. And while we're doing very simple methods in a way, as they were combined into the feeling, into the emotion, into the largeness of being and feeling, they became actually very important to us. So I think that's true for the oils. I think that's true for our stories as we tell them more, and we tell them more with depth, right? Not incongruent, but really depth, really standing still for a moment and see what an oil or what an experience with the oils has meant to you. I think we can enlarge how we feel about it, and we can enlarge our message about it, and we can touch more people through that. Because if there's one thing I realized in the last week, it's that experiences, that's what changes people. It's the experiences, it's the sharing of those experiences, right? Of those stories, much more than knowledge. It's the sharing of those experiences that truly changes people. It's why TED Talks, I think, are so profound in so many ways, because there's such a deep experiences often of people. If you look at TED Talks, they're not just about knowledge, although they definitely have a lot of pointers and knowledge in it. But what changes is the story that's connected to it. So I want to enlarge our stories today and and it may be actually good to listen to some TED Talks if you're doing your story, is to listen to how they are structuring their talk and see how they are doing. But for today, we're going to kind of listen to some stories. Would love for you to listen to the 4 components that we identified and see if they're in there. They don't have to be, but it's fun if they are in there. So kind of brighten your mind a little bit, brighten the synapses of your brain, really open us up. And so you can listen, and you can give feedback, and you can express with more depth. Just a really quick recap. So it was the call, right? The pit, the search, and then ultimately the transformation, or how you actually got through. So those were kind of the 4 components to our stories. Okay, so I'm gonna have Jen go first with her story, and I'm totally blinking. Christy was gonna tell her story, and then there was somebody else. Was Diane? I think Diane was gonna tell her story. Am I right, guys? I don't. I think
yes, but I didn't really get to prepare.
Okay, that's okay. We'll see if we'll get to you, even, because I know we have 2 stories already coming up. But we'll start with Jen, and then we'll do Christy, and then if we have time, Diane, we'll just start with your story, even if you have no time. In a way, these stories should be, in the end, so secondhand to us that we don't have to prepare them, right? They're all part of us. Okay, so take one more deep breath, and Jen, go for it.
Okay. And I did write my story a couple points out yesterday, and of course I don't have that with me, so I'm not really prepared, but it is a story I've told more than once. Not for a while. It was one of the first big experiences I had with doTERRA oils, and it's interesting that you were saying profound, because when I was thinking about it, it was how I really knew that the oils could have such a profound effect. Um, Ella, my daughter, who is 15, is a competitive dancer, and 2 years ago, she had an injury, which happens kind of frequently. She was in a lot of pain. We had a competition coming up. And anytime that happens for anyone on the team, it's a huge ordeal. There's so much stress that goes along with that. Are you going to be able to dance? You're dealing with the pain, you have the pain, and she's featured in a bunch of dances. She has solos. You can always cut the solos, but then the dances that she's featured in, are they going to have to completely redo them? It's when do we make the decision whether she can dance or not? There's so much stress involved with an injury. So I had gotten the oils from Anna Marie, and I started out with, one of the basic kits. So out of those oils, I used lavender and I used deep blue. And every night it was about 10 days before the competition, I would put them on her spine. I put them on the area where she was having a lot of pain. It was sort of off to one side, and I would put them along her spine and on her feet. And she had been in physical therapy for a while for different things. We were trying different things. She was, of course, taking a lot of Aleve. We were icing. We were using heat. I was doing some energy work on her feet for her stress and anxiety. Anytime that she would have a lot of anxiety, she would also have stomach issues. But every night needs to speed my story up because I can get into it and it's big. So every night I put the oils along her spine, and she seemed to be improving some. So we went to competition, and I noticed even in packing for competition, like she was packing and I was thinking, okay, this is going pretty smoothly. A lot of times when the stress building up to competition causes some agitation and unpleasantness. So we packed, everything was smooth. We were driving to competition, and it just kind of seemed, I don't know, kind of nice, kind of grounded and not crazy. And I thought, oh, maybe Ella's matured some. That was my first thought. This was the first competition of that competition season. I thought, oh, maybe she's matured some. This is really pretty cool. Because I had remembered the energy of the trip to competition being different. So we got to the hotel. I set up a diffuser. We used oils on the back. The next day we went to competition, and she felt pretty good. She didn't have pain. She seemed pretty grounded. We got up in the morning. We had breakfast. We went throughout the day. She was changing into lots of different costumes. She came and got deep blue a few times for teammates who had pain. And I remember thinking, okay, she's really liking the oils. But she seemed very grounded. Maybe at the end of the first day, I was like, okay, this is going very well. Usually Ella would, even without the pain in her back, she would be texting me from the wings, asking me if she was going to throw up. Because her anxiety would upset her stomach. She would be agitated and not very pleasant to be around as she was changing from one costume to the next. It would often make me wonder why we did dance competition. And this is common for all of the girls on the team, except for maybe some of the older ones, which she is now, thankfully. But at competitions in the past, she would take a lot of Aleve. She would commonly take several doses of anti-diarrhea medicine. She would never eat. She would just be a mess. This competition was very different. Katie, the director of the studio, commented and said, boy, Ella seems really grounded. And I said, yeah, I know. She said, what's going on? I said, nah, we'll see. At the end of the competition, Ella said to me, I didn't have a single panic attack. I said, I know. I said, why do you think that is? And she said, oh, it's definitely the oils. And then she said, I ate food. I was like, yeah, you did eat food. I didn't take any, medicine. You didn't take any medicine. I mean, it was amazing. It was a night and day difference in the experience for us. And that is how a lot of the dance team members have come to know the oils.
I love it, Jen. I love it. Was that the main of it? I don't want to cut you short, but was that the main of it?
That was it. That was it's, we continue to use the oils for that. I would never go to a dance competition without oils, without my diffuser. Ella, she has really come into her own as far as, having the oils bring her into her teenagehood has been such a godsend. She she suffered from so much anxiety in her life and panic attacks, and she had been on medication for a short period of time. We abandoned that quickly. We've done all sorts of different things, herbal supplements and energy work, and all sorts of things, and the oils really made a huge difference for her. And they continue to. I love that they empower her. She has roller bottles next to her bed. She'll text me from school sometimes. She still has some stomach issues because she eats things that don't agree with her. And she'll text me and be like, my stomach hurts, or I feel this. And I'll be like, I'll text her back, use your oils, tap. Like, she has her tools. She just wants me to know. And I mean, just everything for her. It's been so empowering. And for me too, to know that she has things that she can use. So yeah, that's really it.
Awesome. I'd love to have some comments, guys. Thinking about those components that we talked about, and thinking about what you felt and how you thought how our story went, because it's a marvelous story. That's about a 3 to 5 minute story. That's when you have a little more time to talk to somebody, because you also have your 30-second story. But this is a 3 to 5 minute. I think it's an awesome star story, and then it's an awesome breakthrough story. And you went a little bit in the back when I just now you went a little more into the breakthrough, which I love. The kind of the little more in depth, what kind of difference it has made in your life. So I say emphasize that too. Anybody else? Any comments for Jen? We all should have comments. So come on, let's speak up.
I was definitely feeling the suspense of wondering what was going to happen. So you definitely built up a lot of suspense, which I think is really good because it keeps people engaged. Now, were we supposed to kind of tie in how that led to where we are now in terms of that's why I can't help but share the oils, or is it good enough to just stop there to say that experience? Anna Marie.
Well, that's why I said, like, in the end, she went a little bit more into what it has meant to her now, and I think that was really good, Jen. After and saying, okay, we have tried all these other things, and this was really it, and this is what we continue to use, and she has really come into her own. I love that sentence. She's really come into who she is as a teenager, right? I mean, think about all the other moms, dance moms, or other high performance sports moms and dads who would want to have that for their kids. I think that's a really powerful one that you said at the end. So yeah, I think you could emphasize a little more, but I think awesome. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, you can actually put more of the one thing that Ted McGrath actually says, and you can choose to do it or not, but he pulls people in the story a little bit more by making it present tense what the issue was. Like when he talks about being 6 years old, he goes into when he was 6 years old. So it's up to you, Jen, if you want to do that or not, but you could actually talk in the present tense. And here I was sitting in this hotel room wondering what was going to happen this time, right? I loved what you said. Another, I think, big one is when you said, well, I was wondering, why are we doing this competition? I'll put a little more emphasis on that if you have time. Does that make sense, Jen? It's like, why in the world are we here, right?
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. And something I usually talk a little bit more also just the buildup of competition and how it, we worked so hard all year long. I mean, and that goes into the why are we here? We work so hard and there are only a few competitions and the picture is so great, but also you go and it's not even enjoyable. I mean, for so many people because of the stress and the anxiety involved. So
Awesome. Yeah, and I love that piece is very, very strong, and I would emphasize it a little more. And then also a little more the journey. You actually explained the journey too. Just realize it's in there. There's a search, right? And again saying we tried all this other stuff and this is what worked. This has made a difference.
It might also be nice to say something. I mean, I think that all the same things as Anna Marie said, especially about her coming into her own, and really that's what we want. We want to empower people, even our kids, to know that they have resources at their fingertips, that they can resolve their problems. And I would maybe just say something like, as a mom, it gives me such peace of mind to know that my daughter is actually enjoying something she loves a lot more and knows what to do when she has a problem, and I would want that for every mom, something of that nature.
yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Yep. Okay. Good story, Jen. Really, really beautiful story. Loved it. And thank you for the comments, Athena. And anybody else, any comments? And also, you can also write them to Jen. I really would like to build up our stories. So I think was an awesome start, Jen. A really beautiful story. And I think you have a lot of emotions in there too. I also love how you and both your daughters actually have moved this towards helping other people too, right? Within the team, in terms of several people now using it within the team, and the whole atmosphere of the team has kind of relaxed because of that. I think more than else, right? Am I right?
Well, it's absolutely another tool for them. We, at the last competition, I mean, at every competition, there's some sort of issue, whether it's sickness. Let's see, we've had nosebleeds, we've had like terrible stomach upset that delayed some dances, which can't happen. That happened at the last one. We've had colds. We've had just all sorts of stuff, and we always go to the oils, even if the dancers aren't dancers that use oils. They do always come someone who has oils that's there and go that route. When people are desperate, they will try anything. We've had hormonal migraines. It has been a really good tool. And there are several dancers that use oils regularly.
Awesome. Okay,
I have a comment.
Go for it.
Jen, what I was thinking when you were telling your story, and a component that you might want to add to it or consider it in yourself, is the relationship between you and your daughter and how that changed, if it did. So I was just imagining you putting oils on her and the effect that you're also getting grounded and you're also bonding through these oils. And just the fact that you're probably not responding in the same way to her panic attacks or to her irritability when she's changing and when she's doing that. I mean, you probably became much more balanced and easygoing and not as reactive. Would that be the case?
What a wonderful thing to add to it. Yes, absolutely. And it's funny that you should say that, because that brought back a memory of that first competition and in using oils on some of the moms. I mean, Ella came and got the deep blue for teammates that had pain. And I very specifically remember using some oils with some of the mothers that were having those feelings. And yes, absolutely. Of course, being exposed to the oils grounded me as well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to Christy. Thank you for that comment, Diane. And let's continue to tell these stories. And I would really like them to somehow, we would like, if you at one point could do a Facebook Live about this, Jen, I would love it. just because I think you need to express your star story. So just think about that. Okay. Okay, Christy, go for it. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. Well, before I talk about my story, which is short and sweet, Jen, it was good to hear your story again, because I think of some of the people that I've encountered recently with similar issues, and it helps me know how to help them. So thank you for that gentle reminder. And as far as my story, I'm not even sure how Jen and I started talking about essential oils out in the cul-de-sac one day, but I had used another product without much success, and so I'm not sure what that noise is.
Hold on, let me see if I can stop it. Go for it. Just keep on going.
Okay, sorry. Like I said, I'd used another product without much success, and somehow Jen and I started talking about essential oils in the cul-de-sac, and I wanted to hear more about them, and I remember going over to her house and her, showing me some of the oils. I do remember at first thinking, wow, that all these smells are overpowering, and I thought I could never be around that many smells at one time. But I quickly overcame that. But I had plantar fasciitis in both of my feet that I had taken care of. I had Oscitron done about 4 or 5 years prior to that, which is high intensity ultrasound, because exercising was painful. Afterwards was painful. So my feet hurt all the time. And Jen gave me a roller bottle with Aroma Touch in it, and I started using that because I had told her I was going to have Oscitron done again, which when you have it done, you can't exercise for 6 or 8 weeks, which I didn't like that idea. So I used the Aroma Touch roller bottle, and I don't remember how long it took, maybe a couple weeks. I honestly don't remember, but it totally went away, and I haven't had any trouble since. And one of my coworkers had a similar issue recently, and I gave her the Aroma Touch, and I just spoke to her yesterday, and she said it was working. So I love Aroma Touch, and that was the one I take that oil when I go get a massage as well. So do I have a life-altering experience? No, but having my feet not hurt all the time is awesome. So that's my story, short and sweet.
Awesome. And I think that's a great story. The minute you said it, I had one question for you, and just answer however you feel is it true or not. The one question I had, is it your star story, or is it how you started with the oils? Because a star story is how we made a transformation. It's how we really feel about it. Is it your star story?
I wouldn't say it's my star story. That was my first experience with the oils. I would say my star story, which is not one I want to share with every single human being, but excuse me, I am a breast cancer survivor and took tamoxifen for 5 years and found out that they wanted me to take it for 10, and I didn't really want to do that. So during the course of taking that medication over 5 years, of course, your menstrual cycles are, very erratic, and I would have one and not have one for 6 months, and it was kind of nice. But when I stopped taking the tamoxifen, I, of course, started having a menstrual cycle, and I had one that lasted for 4 months. I went to the GYN oncologist. I had some procedures done, and they put an IUD in to try to stop it, and I had it. I started using the oils because even with the IUD, I still had the same issue. So I started using Clary Calm topically and Clary Sage and Ylang Ylang internally, and it totally stopped it. And of course, I used the LLV as well. And so I remember vividly going to the doctor and asking them to remove it, and the doctor thought thought that I was crazy. I told her what I was doing, and she tried to talk me out of doing that and to stop using essential oils, and strongly advised me against it. And I remember talking to you and Jen about it, and because I was relatively new at using the oils and starting to have a little bit of doubt. And so anyway, I continued to use the oils, and it took care of the situation, and that was amazing to me, because a 4-month long menstrual cycle was not fun at all. So that I would say that's my star story, because it was so life changing, and
Okay, I love this. I love this, Christine. I'm curious from other people, which one would draw you in to get oils for yourself? Which story?
The second one, especially because I'm in a similar situation. I also went through breast cancer, and I did not have the tamoxifen. Mine was triple negative. But, it's very important to speak of how it affects us and the long-term issues we deal with from the treatments and medications and things like that. And actually, I recently scanned for ylang-ylang and clary sage, and I'd love to know that I should take them internally, and that could be helping me, because I've felt some fluctuations, although I've been in menopause since 2012. And so the second one was definitely more, spoke to me more, was very powerful. And I don't think there's anything to be necessarily ashamed of. We are women, and we struggle with our menstrual cycles, and with our health. And it's important to get the word out that there are natural solutions. So
Yeah,
thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's just not a story I'd share in a group of men, or when men are around. I'd be a little bit more reluctant to share that one.
Anybody else? Thank you, Zena. That's beautiful. Anybody else?
Yes, I'd love that story too. I am thinking of my friends with cancer, or breast cancer survivors, and so it's like I would love to share that story. So that would be a great, Facebook Live. But I think you could draw that in and say, we all have, we often run into hormonal issues, and then you can even draw it into, so the moms that are there, and say, you know what, even for those of you who are lucky enough not to have, breast cancer, but our hormones, drive everything that we do. And, and even those of you with, teenage daughters, you can see that. Even, monthly in your lives, how you get irritable and how you get that, and just say, and bring that in and say, this is a way to balance your hormones, and, which will help you in, all aspects of your health and your mood, so you can
Awesome.
pull that whole part in. So pull in all of, everybody, because if it works for you in such, a huge issue, that you can just say, imagine how it may work for you if you don't have these huge issues, but your problems will be easier to take care of, kind of thing.
Awesome. I love it. Jen, what were you going to say?
And let's face it, men have to live with us. So it benefits men that we balance our hormones.
Absolutely. Okay, love it, both of you. Jen, what were you going to say?
Well, yeah, I love that comment, because of course we're all dealing with hormones or lack of hormones. I was just going to say, I know that wasn't the story you were planning on telling. I would love to hear you tell that, the next time you tell that, to bring in a little more of the desperation and the feeling of having the 4-month-long period, because I know that I know that was hell.
Yeah.
and to for someone, as women, we can, if we choose, we can hear that and tap into it and know that that is awful. But I would love to have just, even if it's a little bit of pausing or a little, just a little more feeling, a little more of how that felt, because the energy of that is like, ugh,
Yeah.
and then it was resolved, which is, that's like the part of it.
Right.
It,
Right.
it also,
Right,
for me,
and you
rang biblically, of the woman who bled for 7 years. It's like, I can't fathom, 4 months or 7 years of continuous bleeding. So, there is something very significant there.
Okay. Awesome.
I
Chris, you were
would
going to say
think
something?
also,
Or
I
make
would
it,
think
let's make it
also,
real quick. Diane, let's make it really quick because we need to stop, but go for it.
okay, so I'm saying I agree with what you were saying about, put more interest on how it affected you, but you can also talk about how it affected you emotionally and how it affected you, hormonally. So with the whole range of feelings that go along and how that affected your daily life.
Yeah. I was a hot mess.
It was a hot mess. That's a really good one.
Right.
That's a really good one. Okay. So this is your story, dear. The plantar fasciitis is nice, and it's one of your stories. But Christy, this is your story. This, you could even feel it, even though you hadn't prepared it. This is what would draw me into the oils, even if I didn't have breast cancer. But my goodness, if it works for a 4-month period, then maybe it will work on my issue too. Because your
Yeah.
heart was in it, your emotions was in it. Even when you just said it, your emotions were in there. And you didn't even prepare it. You didn't even go about it, but it already was there. This is your star story.
Yeah.
So I would
Okay.
say, I'll invite you to get over any hangups that you have, because women need to hear this. Women need to hear this. Just like Jen had this whole story that women with daughters need to hear this, and teenage daughters need to hear that, and sports moms need to hear this. This is something people need to hear, and this is something that will change their lives. So I'm gonna, to look at that. I would love for you to share it one time, but more and listen and look at it, because it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It really is.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Diane, you're off the hook because we're going to use too much for tomorrow. You have another day. Anybody else for tomorrow? Anybody else wants to volunteer for tomorrow? This is our star story this week. So please, somebody else volunteer.
I'm still trying to figure out my star story, so I could try, but I can't guarantee I've
Okay.
come up with that, but I'll work on it.
That's okay. We'll guide you through it. Like today, often things come up. So awesome.
Okay.
So one more. I would have one more as well. Actually, we have, Diane, Athena, anybody else. One more as a backup that may be going off to the next day, but I would like to have one more.
I can do it.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. So we have 3 people, Diane, definitely, Athena, and then maybe Megan. Otherwise, we'll put Megan to the next day. Don't worry about it too much, guys. Just start expressing this. As we're doing this, you will find your star story, just like Christy did today. I think you will find it. So, and we're here to help and to move. This is not a one-time thing. You will do this again and again. But I think just thinking about this, just opening this up, is huge. This is really, really big, guys. This is our story. This is our story. Okay, I think that's all we have time for today. So take a deep breath, work with your story today, even more with your star story. And I think we'll put the regret story until Friday, but we have time to do that, because this is something maybe that's longer than 1 week. I feel like it's probably going to go with 2 or 3 weeks. That's okay. I feel like this is huge. This is huge. Okay, we'll see you tonight in the call at 7 o'clock. Some of you I'm going to see this morning at 10 a.m. with Mao. And if you're interested in doing more with Mao, let me know, because we're going to do more we have more time to do that. But listen, for anybody who's listening to this call who isn't on this call regularly, come on the call. But also, if you want to express your star story in another way, or in a Facebook Live, or for us to comment in any other way, if you can't make the 6 a.m. calls, then let me know, or let Jen know, or Megan, or your leaders know, anybody who's on this call, actually, and we'll find a time to actually help you express your star story, because it's important. Okay, take a deep breath. Have fun, guys, with sharing and enrolling and sharing and more and all that stuff. And we'll talk tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank
See you in
you.
a little while. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.